Apple recently just held their event where they unveiled the iPhone 17 range, and online there's been a little bit of backlash, and I wanted to find out why. One story I keep seeing everywhere is that after the iPhone 17 release, the Apple stock dipped. And if we look historically, in most cases, after a new product is released, the Apple stock does go down. This doesn't mean the product is bad, it just means that investors get a little bit uneasy when a new product is being released, and after a few weeks, it recovers. The iPhone 17 is also getting some criticism over its design because it's quite similar to last year, and that is pretty much an Apple staple. Year on year, the design doesn't really change or doesn't change too much. Now, I'm actually not against this because you have a look. Apple has a look that people like, and you don't want to mess with that or change it too dramatically because that's what makes an iPhone an iPhone. Now, what I will say is if you look at the 14, the 15, and the 16, they're identical. They're not similar. They're basically identical, and the 17, even though it is a little bit different, it is still very much the same. The next bit of backlash comes in the form of new features, or what people would argue aren't new features. They've been on the market for years, but they're new to Apple. This includes adaptive refresh rate coming to their base phones. Their Pro phones have had this for years, but now they're including their base phones. And what people argue is super cheap Android phones have had adaptive refresh rate from 1 Hz to 120 Hz for years. So they could have done this years ago, but they're only implementing it now, where before it was a marketing strategy, and right now they sort of have been forced to because pretty much every phone on the market now has this. They also showed off dual cameras, which means you can record using your main camera and also the selfie camera at the same time. Once again, this is a feature I think Samsung released about 11 or 12 years ago, so it's been known for a while. It's only new to Apple. And the small one is with the cameras now all being 48 megapixel. Once again, every other manufacturer has pretty much improved their camera setup and range to be 48 megapixel, 50 megapixel, and that is just the adaptation of the wide camera coming up to spec with the main camera. Apple's copying this, but they sort of have to because why would you not want better cameras across all your cameras? And the last bit of backlash is just kind of funny, and it's with the marketing of the 15 and 16. They didn't talk about the cameras, they didn't talk about performance, they didn't talk about the battery, they purely talked about it being made of titanium. Every single advert they mentioned titanium like 100 times. That was their selling point, is every other phone on the market has this weaker metal, which is aluminium, but we use titanium. And that was pretty much their main marketing strategy. Fast forward to today, they've backtracked and they've gone back to aluminum, and they mention it because it has better thermals where it can take the heat away from the processor to help with performance, and also it's a lighter material. So even if they cram more components in there, it might be lighter overall because the metal is lighter. Yeah, that's why everyone else uses it, but they sort of on it because they wanted to promote theirs as a better overall material and better overall phone because of titanium. And it's just funny that they've backtracked now. So I can kind of see why there's a little bit of backlash around that, because they sort of just dropped it after a couple of years and then went to do what everyone else does, even though they basically sort of implied that was a worse idea. I just wanted to make this video because some of the backlash isn't warranted. It's just made up figures to make Apple look bad, or the iPhone 17 to look bad, where some others are maybe a little bit more warranted. But overall, I think the iPhone 17 could be a good step forward. I really hope they keep innovating to push other manufacturers to innovate as well. There's a great competition between Apple and Android, and I want it to continue because it just means better products for the consumer like us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.